Hello and welcome to this video about Krokodove tools. Well, as you know, Krokodove can be installed for Resolve's Fusion as well as the standalone Fusion. And this Krokodove tools are like the Swiss Army knife of the plugins. You can do pretty much a lot of motion graphics and many creative stuff. Well, you can check out the videos on Vimeo. These were posted 10 years ago and these are still relevant and it's kind of awesome. These tools are given for free. And so we have lots of videos, and in fact the compositions of all these examples are also provided. I hope you know or you have already installed Reactor. If you haven't, you can check out my last video about how to install Krokodove tools from Reactor. And I'm using standalone Fusion for this video. Well, it's pretty much the same if you want to use it in DaVinci Resolve's Fusion. So in Fusion Studio, once you have installed Reactor and all those Krokodove tools, you can go to Reactor Tools, Show Comps folder, and there you have Krokodove and you have all the examples. These examples are the same which you find on Vimeo, all those examples. You can check out the compositions. Let's check out a composition. Let's see. Extrude. So you can check out how it works. You can check out the node graph. It's pretty interesting. Similarly, you can check out all the examples. Now, let me get back into Fusion. Okay, so let's check out Krokodove tools. So we have a bunch of 3D tools, Align 3D, Connect, Cut, so on, and some 2D tools as well. So let's get started with the tools. Okay, so first let's go on with Connect 3D. Connect 3D is kind of like tiny lines, like this particular effect in After Effects. I guess it's something similar to that. Let's create some particles. And so let's increase the number and the size of it, the region. So we have some particles now, and we can use Connect 3D. You can also use any geometry to connect all these vertices of that geometry. Let's see, we need to reduce the size, the radius of those lines. It's too big, and I think the number of particles are too high. And so See, you can connect all these points together. Also, you can use any geometry. For example, let's say I have an FBX geometry of a shark. Okay. Okay, I think the shark is too big. Let's reduce it. Okay, I think it's too big. Okay. Okay. Let's switch on the lighting. Okay. So I have this shark. It's just a 3D geometry. You can also use text 3D, extrude it, and then use to connect 3D. Let's say connect to this and use the edges. So there you go. See, actually, what it does is, you see the wireframe of this geometry. It just connects all these vertices. It's more or less like a wireframe though, and you can reduce the radius, you can increase it, and so on. Let me get in the texture of that shark as well. Okay. So you can also color it in random. All these, you can randomize all these colors and so on. Also, you have the displace option. This looks like some physics effect. You can also select amplitude, direction, and all those things. Okay. You can make some pretty cool effects with this. You can actually go beyond that. Say 1. Let's do 10. Okay. Can animate this. Looks pretty cool. So that's Connect 3D. You can do creative stuff, lots of stuff. And you can also use it for any 3D geometry, even if it's text 3D. Let's see. This is a text, that's a font, and I can also extrude it, connect it. As you see, it's connected. Let's check out by smoothest renderer. Let's check it out by rendering it out. And so it's 3D, and let's add the should come up, no? Let's connect back that shark. Okay, it's in camera view. And let's copy the point of view to camera. And you see it gets displaced. As you can see in this window, it's rendered 1. And let's remove this checker underlay. And you can do lots of other cool stuff as well. So let's move on. And the next one is cut 3D. Okay, so let me bring back the geometry of shark. 3D, it's an FBX file. Let's reduce the size again. Well, cut 3D, it's basically like, I'll show you rather than explaining. It's far easier to show you rather than explain this. So this is the shark. Cut 3D does this. Oops, what X? Can isolate a portion of the 3D geometry. You also have an example in the comps folder by Raf. That's Krokodove. You can check that out. Just cut 3D. And let's go to kill 3D. What kill 3D is. Okay. Okay, so see, apart from this, you have this 3D regions. So these regions are like bounding boxes where, say for example, I take a cube. You can connect it to this. And let me make this a little bigger. Okay. Okay, this. Okay, first let's check this out. And here you can actually remove a part of the polygon from forward or inside out or at random. Or you can also use the region like cube. Let's say, I think the cube is right now. So there's a cube here actually. Similarly, you can select any type of region that how you want to mask it. Well, masking, that's the right word, I guess. It's like a 3D masking. So there's a cube here and you can use that to mask. You can animate the softness and so. This is like 3D masking. You can so that's the purpose of these 3D regions. You can use it as, if you check out the input as region, you can connect any of these regions. Right, let's move on to the next tool, mapped duplicates. Okay, mapped duplicates, it's like, say, shape. I create, so for an example, I create shape 3D and let me create a cube a tiny cube, and I can connect it to map duplicates, and this is what you get. I mapped duplicates. Basically, enable lighting. Okay. So it's basically duplicated. You can select the number of duplicates in X, Y, and Z. The size. Offset. This total offset of the entire thing. And the range. You can also select the range. You can put in any geometry here. Let's make this 4, 4, 4. You have this. You can even connect the shark here. So you can connect literally any geometry. And the time and probability, you can play with this chat stuff. And let's move on to the next tool. Okay, this is Objectify 3D. Okay, so say for example you have text 3D, and let's say a resolve size, and let's extrude it. Now you can add some other shape. Let's add a small cube in it. Let's make it a cube. Okay, so you have, say for example, you have many objects in the scene, many 3D objects, which is basically geometry. What I mean is geometry. You have lots of geometry in the scene, and I'll add more lights as well. Lights, and let me add a point light as well. Somewhere this point. Let me connect this to this merge. Of course, you can connect it to any merge, but then I want to demonstrate something here. So now you can also add in a camera. And let's add a renderer 3D. And let's enable lighting and shadows. Let's make it OpenGL renderer. Okay. Also, let's move. Let's, for the spotlight, let's increase the cone angle and penumbra angle. Okay, now you have this. So if you want to rotate it, each and every object on, say for example, you want it to be considered as a separate object and rotate it, you can't do it with a existing tool. I mean, you can add a transform 3D for this and rotate it as a whole, but say using Objectify 3D, what you can do is you can rotate it as an individual object separately. Even here you are inputting, it's a scene input. Basically, takes all the geometry. It doesn't affect the lights or the cameras, and you can do all these. So this is a pretty useful tool actually. So this is Objectify 3D, and let's move on to the other tool, Polyplay. This is a very interesting and a fun tool to play with. Let me bring in that shark object. It's just that you can play with the polygons of that 3D geometry. Say for example, we have this shark here, and you can offset the polygons. Basically, this have lots of polygons. You can do this. It's each and every polygon you're offsetting it. X, Y, Z. Looks cool, right? Let me connect. Let me edit. So you can also enable lighting. And let me add a spotlight. Oops. And increase its cone angle and enable lighting. Let me make it open here now. And you can play with the offsets. You can also jitter. This is jitter at random. It'll put those polygons out there at random, and X, Y, and Z. You can pretty much animate it. So let's see. And so this looks pretty cool, and you can play with the other options, like you can also extrude it. Those shards, those pieces, you can extrude it to these shards can be extruded. And again, color, can put some random colors. So that's Polyplay 3D. Okay, let's move on to the other tools. Vertex Play. Okay, this is another interesting tool. Basically, you have, let's see the wireframe of this geometry. With Vertex Play, basically you can do anything with that vertex. Say just jittering X, Y, and Z. Of course, I'm sorry about the shadow. So I can do some pretty cool effects with this Vertex Play. And this range you have with almost all of the Krokodove 3D tools. You can affect a part of the geometry, again from inside or random. So that's it with the 3D tools. And let's move for the shape tools. Okay, this is an interesting. After completion of these shape tools, let's move on to 2D. So these shape tools are quite interesting. You can say, for example, you can do pretty interesting effects with fonts. You know, see, you have a text, a 2D text, let's say, Resolve, and let's choose a good font. Let's make it bigger. Okay. Now you can use where is it? Find it. Okay. Under shape create, you have S-trace create. You can connect it to S-trace create. You can't see anything with this tool yet. You have now created, and you'll have to add as render. Okay, so now you have this. Here the shading, you have this brush enabled and pen enabled. You can reduce the pen thickness or opacity. You can play with that, and you can also make it dashed, dotted, or any custom settings. Let's keep it at solid for now. And okay, yes, trace great. So now that we have this, you can use some other tools like S offset. You can do some pretty cool effects with this. You can increase the number of it. It's pretty useful for motion graphics. So some creative effects. You can also connect the text. And okay, that's all set. And you can do smoothing. You'll have to select the window. Okay, you can smooth out the text. And you also have write on. This is pretty cool effect. Okay. So in write on, you can do this. It's pretty cool, right? This is again, you can select shape or element. So you can play with it. So these are the tools, almost much commonly used tools. So if you need a primitive create, well, these are for creating some primitive tools like common shapes, polygons, rectangles, and so on. Now let's look into some interesting stuff as well. Now, say for example, as you saw in the other video, how resolve how. If you want to create such kind of renders, like this application renders, let me show you something. Okay, so this is a note. Okay, let's say I have this screenshot of Word, and I can make a render of this, like an extruded render in 3D. It's quite simple using these Krokodove tools. I have to create S-trace create, say, and yeah, shape create 3D. Okay, it's in wireframe mode, so let me switch off the wireframe mode. So now, if you look at it, this has been traced by a trace create, and you can extrude it. Now, this S-trace create, it depends on the map channel. Right now we have selected luminance. That is the part where the luma value beyond a threshold, those are where the geometry is getting created. You can select red channel, green channel, or blue channel depending on the image, or just the alpha, just to create a plain tube like geometry for the application. And now you select this and connect to this, you get this. This is pretty nice for showcasing of any renders of any software products. So under the shape, create 3D, can select the size of extrusion. And you can animate it pretty much any way you want it. You can directly connect it to the material input, and this is fold create 3D. It's a pretty cool effect. Tube create 3D is a tool, so you can create all kinds of tubes and increase the profile segments to make it smoother. Increase the radius. You can also go beyond this to make it smoother, and create any kind of shape. And you also have the path. You can animate this. And so that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please do subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.